أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. By the morning brightness, and by the night when it covers with darkness, your Lord has not taken leave of you, O Muhammad, nor has he detested you. And the hereafter is better for you than the first life. And your Lord is going to give you, and you will be satisfied. Did he not find you an orphan and give you refuge? And he found you lost and guided you. And he found you poor and made you self-sufficient. So as for the orphan, do not oppress him. And as for the petitioner, do not repel him. But as for the favor of your Lord, report it. Jazakallah khair.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We begin in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious. I am being told that I need to be louder. Usually people tell me that I need to be a little bit less loud. So I wanted to thank all of the community members who are here today, in person and online. Without you, this community center is just walls and building and cement, so we thank you for your presence. At this time, I also did want to introduce you to the board members that are present in the hall with me. Brother Samar Lakhani, Brother Zahir Khan, and Brother Mujahid. We will be here even after the session ends to answer any questions and during the live Q&A session as well. During the last quarter, many beautiful things have happened in MCC. As you must have noticed, that mashallah, our Friday nights are coming back to the full potential of where we were pre-COVID. Alhamdulillah, on Friday nights we have Rahma and MCC's collaborative young girls halakas happening and our very popular women's halaka with Dr. Anya happening. We also have the Boy Scouts coming in on Friday nights for their weekly meeting. There are a lot of other programming that is happening on Saturdays and Sundays to allow the community to gather and learn through classes or learn from each other. The sisters' weekly halakas with Sister Husay are back. There is the Sira Club, book club is back. To maintain all of that, we need your du'as first and foremost. We also need your support to help fund the operations and the zakat and the sadaqah. You will be hearing from Brother Munir and Sister Amina about all the programs that have continuously supported the community. Please do listen and also just generously donate towards these causes so these programs can continue onwards. On a very happy note, I would like to tell all of you that during this last quarter, we were able to hire a part-time support staff for the new Convert Care Group. MashaAllah, for the last few years, Sister Aisha and Brother Munir have been supporting the Convert Care Group tirelessly. But by the grace of Allah, the group is growing exponentially, and we needed some extra support. So we have Sister Lizette, who has been part of the group. She is supporting on a few hours a week our Convert Care group, facilitating their meetings and questioning any of their answers. The biggest, I think, achievement, I would say, from the board with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was that this quarter we were able to find 2 young, enthusiastic youth leaders. And please keep them in your du'as and support them. Come to their listening sessions with your high schoolers. They, mashallah, have amazing insight into what the children need because they were both born and raised in locally, especially our young female youth leader is Pleasanton, born and raised, went through the high school system here. They are Zaytuna graduates. You will learn more about them shortly from them. But keep them in your du'as. Bring your boys starting next Friday to the boys' halaqah when we begin meeting with just the high schoolers. Pretty soon we will be adding other age groups. And with further ado, I would like to invite Sister Maryam Awal and Brother Zaid Khanani, our new youth leaders, to come and introduce themselves to all of you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Zaid Khanani.
My name is Mariam.
So we'll just quickly talk about a few points. Just a quick intro into our background. Both of us have a background in Islamic studies through Zaytuna College's bachelor's and master's program. We are also studying with scholars overseas from Egypt and Syria, and so that's kind of like our Islamic studies background. In addition to that, we both also have a background in counseling psychology with a master's in marriage in counseling psychology in marriage and family therapy that we got at the Wright Institute in Berkeley, California. So that's kind of who we are. Our goal here at MCC, inshallah, is to create a community based in knowledge, service, and love. So what we've been doing for the past, I guess, week is, for the past 2 weeks, we've been having listening sessions. Do you want to talk about the listening sessions?
Sure. So we have held 3 listening sessions so far with different populations in the community. And so we've managed to meet with over 50 community members, alhamdulillah. And we've heard a lot from them about what they really feel like they need and what they feel like they want to see and help organize in the next few weeks. So inshallah, you'll hear more from us once we kind of consolidate all the data and make a plan for moving forward.
To start off with, we are going to be having weekly and monthly events for both genders. So just like Sister Humaira said, next week on Friday, we'll begin with the boys' halqa for high school students from 7 to 9 p.m. inshallah. So we definitely encourage you to send your boys to that. And then also, in addition to that, we are planning other weekly and monthly activities that will hopefully engage the youth. They will be active, they will be fun. So inshallah, please encourage all members to participate. Some topics that will be addressed moving forward. So in addition to the sports activities, the outdoor activities, things like that, the topics that we'll be addressing throughout the programming and throughout our educational series will be things dealing with family conflict, family resolution, gender and LGBTQ+ issues, and then different aspects of mental health, and of course, the fundamentals of Islamic knowledge, particularly the Farda'in sciences. Do you want to And then so lastly, okay, yeah.
And then the last thing is just, I mentioned that we've met with 50 members, but we'd obviously love to meet everyone. So we are holding office hours, both in person and online, just based on people's availabilities. So our Calendly links are now on the screen. You can just go to either of these links, and then there's time slots there. You can sign up for them. Or if those times don't work that are online, you can also just reach out by email or phone. We have business cards for those of you here if you want them. And feel free to reach out, and we can schedule another time that works, inshallah.
We just wanted to thank the MCC community, and Jazakumullah khair, and thank you for having us.
And keep us in your du'as, please.
MashaAllah, what inspiring youth leaders we have, and we look forward to what they will be bringing in their programming in the next few weeks and months to come. Please continue to keep them in your du'as, and also do bring your high schoolers starting next week. Next week's session is sort of introducing themselves and what they have in plans. These are just for youth, please, so do remember. Once their regular sessions start, do keep in mind that they will be needing help from the parents in supporting the group with their different needs, and more to come on that. I would now pass the mic on to Sister Amina, who will be updating the community on the various zakat, pantry, and refugee events and updates. Jazakallah, Sister Amina.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome. I just want to go over our community outreach program. It's made primarily of 3 components. We have a rental assistance program, our food pantry, and a car donation program. Our zakat program, well, first let me say there's 5 main groups of community members that are benefiting from these programs. We have single sisters, single mothers, domestic violence victims, families with young children, and our refugee community. So our rental assistance program, our primary goal with this program is to keep families housed. When they lose their jobs, the biggest risk that they face, the biggest fear that they have is eviction. So this is the goal with the rental assistance program. And currently we are still process about 15 to 20 applications per week. With the food pantry program, that has 2 components. We have the bi-weekly Saturday program, which reaches primarily community members. And then we have our weekly Tuesday, Thursday drive-through that started during COVID and still exists. And this benefits primarily our community, our neighbors in our community. We partner with the Alameda County Food Bank. And through them, we're able to distribute about 30,000 pounds of food to community members and neighbors on a monthly basis. We also partner with Help a Mother Out, which gives us practically free diapers that we're able to pass along to community members and neighbors as well. And then on Thursdays, Open Heart Kitchen utilizes the MCC parking lot and also does a food distribution program. The Saturday bi-weekly program reaches about 350 community members all throughout the East Bay. It is still a delivery program primarily, and we have partnered with DoorDash. And the way that works is that we partner with different massages in the area, and we utilize their parking space. Community members fill up their vans. We use the MCC cargo van, and we take food to that location, and then DoorDash drivers come. They pick up the food, and they deliver the food to the families for us. And all of this is free to MCC. Our car program, last year we were able to give out cars to over 50 families. Last week alone, we gave out cars to 2 families, the week before to 4 families. So alhamdulillah, we had kind of a lull there where we were not getting many donations from the community, and the used car market has not been very good since COVID. But recently, alhamdulillah, we're getting donations from the community members. We're able to purchase quality used vehicles for the family members, and now we're able to give cars to those families that do not have a car. But just to kind of share a story with you, last week there was a single mom that needed a car. Alhamdulillah, we were able to find one for her. She's been on the wait list for several months, which means she was taking the bus with her 2 kids to work, dropping them off to daycare, doing the same thing every night, 5 days a week. And when I called her to tell her that we had a car available for her, she was in disbelief. And her first reaction was, when do I have to return it? And I was just really shocked. She could not believe that we were giving her a car, that she didn't have to return. And then when she saw the car, she was just amazed and in tears. She couldn't believe that a community member would donate such a nice car to give it to someone that was in need. So just please keep those in our community that are in need in your du'as. Continue to give to the programs and services that we offer, because you are making a huge impact on those community members that are in need. The refugee program is another component that we have. We partner with Service and ICZ. We offer bazaars, monthly bazaars to the community members or to the refugees, and those include clothing, shoes, household items, food, and they come and they pretty much shop, and they're able to pick up the items that they need, things that they don't have in their homes. We also do monthly setups, apartment setups for the refugee families. We do about 2 to 3 of those per week, and those include basic kitchen, bathroom, and bedding items. We give them brand new mattresses, brand new bed frames, brand new bedding, all of that to kind of help them get started in their new apartments. And let's see. The food pantry, we moved the food pantry off-site once we reopened after COVID. So we now have a warehouse where we operate our food distribution out of, and where we maintain our refugee items and our bazaar items. Part of the refugee program includes a car and bike program. And through this program, so far, alhamdulillah, we've given over 100 bikes to refugee brothers so that they're able to get to work and take care of their families. I think that pretty much sums it up. Again, I just ask that you keep the community in your du'as, that we're able to maintain the work that we do to serve those in need, and continue to contribute with volunteering. Our food pantry program, on any given Saturday that we operate, we have 30 volunteers at least. So there's so many people that are coming and giving of their time, giving of their donations, and we thank you all, and please know that you are impacting so many people with all that you do. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. All right. So, most of you know me, inshallah. Hopefully you know me. So I'll just talk a little bit about what we have in store for you as far as programs go. I really will be probably the most brief of everyone, because I think Brother Pervez is going to be talking about our survey and the results we got back from the community. The best indicator for a community, in my opinion, are 2 things. One, how much we're growing, so the staff that we're bringing on board, how much we're growing and able to leverage that growth in a positive way. And the second is what the community thinks about the programming. So as far as the first point, that how much we're growing, alhamdulillah, you heard from Sister Hamera that we have now a convert care coordinator. We were running this, because I've been here 6 years now, we were running this operation like a startup, very lean at the beginning. There was a lot of volunteer work. Everybody wore many different hats. And as we keep growing as a community, we're growing as a staff as well. So now the different hats that Sister Am and I will wear, we're able to give that to somebody else. So you heard that the new Muslim program, alhamdulillah, we have Sister Liz, that Sister Edlin and I were able to now focus on some other new aspects. And this not just, this makes us a lot more productive in the other routes we have. We have some things in the pipeline that we're kind of incubating, you might say, and then those could potentially be the next new Muslim program. So we're doing a lot with the prisons right now, and that could be a next big project. So the incubation point will take points where you're not really hearing a lot from us because we're kind of getting that program off its legs. And then once that gets to the point where staff can come on board and then the community can help more, that's something we talk about. Then what the community thinks about is very important. The best part of the community is the people we're privileged to serve, and we really want to hear what they have to say. But really quickly, let me talk a little bit about the growth of MCC during the pandemic. Alhamdulillah, one of the silver linings, I mentioned this last time, has been the virtual growth, and it continues to go at a steady pace. I think we'll be hitting about 100,000 subscribers on YouTube alone by the end of this year. We're at 80,000 some right now. And we've already started monetizing that channel. So we're moving away from this model of just putting the information out there, but also now we're able to leverage it in a positive way. We get feedback often. So for example, Sister Sahar Javed, she does a program here about story time. She reads an Islamic book for the kids. There are people in India watching that, saying this is an opportunity for us to teach our kids about Islam, but also learn English well. So it's being used in ways that we can't even imagine as a community. We are still a regional, local masjid. We're here to serve this population, but there's a digital footprint that goes out there that we're not even aware of, but it brings the barakah back to this community. So that's to our credit and something that we can be proud of, a point of pride for all of us that we're able to have that impact. By you supporting a local masjid, it's having an impact on people around the world. The hybrid options continue to happen. When we think about our programming, we're thinking about how we can continue to have that online presence. Dr. Rania, for example, has her Friday night halakas here, and when she came back, we were very adamant that we were going to continue the online following. There was about 2,000 sisters that they collected during being online. So she just yesterday was telling me that she was in Australia, and while there, she said there were two sisters that came to her, different time zones. That like right now it's Sunday, it's already Monday over there, like completely different time zone. And they said, we're part of your Friday night halakah, mashallah, in there. So by having this equipment, which mashallah, the board was able to approve all this equipment before the pandemic came, and we've really been able to leverage that well, and we're going to continue to keep growing with this equipment. So alhamdulillah, we'll be probably the first masjid in the state of California and probably on the West Coast that will have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and all. So these are little points like on, I just keep on going on and on. TikTok, for example. We just joined TikTok this summer, and this is where some of our youth were telling us this is where the youth are. So we joined TikTok, and alhamdulillah, we have 30,000 subscribers in 3 or 4 months. And it's because of the content. It's nothing else because of the content that we're able to put out. And we had our first shahada 2 weeks ago, Sister Lorraine. She found us on TikTok. She was in Daly City. She came down here with Dr. Rani and took her shahada. And she says, I was looking online on TikTok to try to find about like what masjid to go to. And then she saw the Maryam reading Quran here. Somebody had posted a video up in TikTok. And then she found the tablecloth, and she Googled MCC East Bay and then got a hold of Sister Liz and came here and took her shahada. So it's that kind of barakah that we're going to continue to do by having this. Of course, it increases the positive response we have after community, increases the visibility and support. So that's that. Let me just change my slide here. Oh, that's the last slide. Thank you. All right, so now we'll talk about some of the programming priorities that we have. So I'll try to be very quick on this. So for the women and men, we heard about the halakas on Friday nights coming back. So the women's halakah is going strong. The numbers vary, about 100 to 140 sisters every Friday night, and that's live stream. So now we're having a lot more numbers than we did pre-pandemic that we're seeing online. Usually, like the first session, I think we had 200 sisters watching online. We have the women's conferences. We had 3 so far. They're very well received, and we have different scholars. Dr. Haifa Yunus that usually headlines this, Ustad Dr. Rania Awad, Ustad Jose, our own. And so we have these retreats, and they've been going really well. So we're working to try to get another retreat, hopefully next year before Ramadan. We're hopeful about that. But the growth of that has come from MCC largely, because Ustad Fadwa was telling me now they're hearing from sisters in Baltimore and sisters in Texas and saying, can you come do that there? Because they're able to watch our retreats that we're able to host here. So alhamdulillah for that. Weekend retreats are making a comeback slowly but surely. We'll be hosting Sheikh Samer in January, inshallah. We've had Sheikh Yahya Rodis here from, what's the group called? Al-Maqasid in Pennsylvania. So we'll be working with a lot of different other groups to make sure that we start bringing our retreats back to the level hopefully we had pre-pandemic. As far as the youth sides go, alhamdulillah, that's one thing that we were working very ad hoc during the pandemic. We were, with Sheikh Rami leaving us, the youth, probably one of the worst times for the youth, as far as I think I saw, with a lot of youth suffering depression and loneliness. And now it's going to be going back to those youth, hopefully with the youth leaders as they get accustomed and making sure that they're okay, the ones that reached out to us. So there's a lot of work to be done there, and alhamdulillah, we have two amazing new leaders here, and they'll be taking the floor, and make lots of dua for them, because the youth are suffering a lot these days. The Friday nights and the youth support. Friday nights, as you heard, Hafiz Zaid will be starting his first session. This will be not navigators, but a version that Hafiz Zaid will be working on. I know a lot of parents have been asking about the younger kids, middle schoolers and high schoolers. Be patient with us, because starting a program in a well-executed way takes time. And so you want to be leveraged in how much you bring out. So if we start all what navigators was before, we have a chance that it would be overwhelm us. We won't be able to get to the level that we were pre-pandemic right away, but it'll take us time to get similar to what we had for navigators, inshallah. The girls program has been going well, because largely that's Rahma run and we're hosting it. The Quran programs, the Hifz programs, the Arabic programs, the Urdu programs, these are all going really well, alhamdulillah. It takes a lot of staff and volunteers to get this. One thing that we're noticing more and more with the Afghan refugees coming is that they are asking us for Farsi classes for their children to know their language, Farsi, and also know their culture and their religion. So that's one thing that there's a few sisters that have approached MCC. We'll be talking about that as we go forward here. Similar to the Urdu program having a Farsi component. The special cohorts at MCC, they've always been a point that when we think about programming, we always think about the groups that are in the community that are typically haven't been served the best way. So sisters have been the community that I feel have largely been underserved over the years. This masjid, we hear from the brothers, where's the program for the brothers? Alhamdulillah, that we're getting to the point where the sisters are getting a lot more programming than the brothers, and it's getting to the point where, alhamdulillah, now we can really focus on some of the other groups. New Muslims are one group that, alhamdulillah, Sister Liz will be doing a lot more. We want to have Shahada anniversaries. We can start having follow-up with the new Muslims. When we say new Muslims in the MCC group, we're talking about 125 new Muslims. We had 4 Shahadas last month. So the numbers keep growing. Like Sheikh Hamza says, before it was a trickle, and now the floodgates have opened, and people are coming to this faith. And it's not up to us to just say, mashallah, mashallah. We have to, after that, we actually call it after mashallah, after the Shahada group, because after you say all the mashallahs, then the real work begins, because shaitan comes hard on them. They have doubts. They have a family that's not being supportive to them. That's the real meat of it, and that's matching them with the mentor, making sure we follow up with them, getting the resources and the books and that they need to kind of survive. Single Muslims, another point of pride for us as a community, alhamdulillah, with our partnership this year with Hafardeen. They've been doing great work. Just yesterday in this room, it was all decked out. We had 35 sisters and 35 brothers. And MCC, alhamdulillah, according to the numbers that Hafardeen gave us yesterday, they said that they're getting positive rates of up to 80% from our community. The highest they ever saw were 40 or 50% in Canada when they did events. They've been doing events for 10 years. So there's something special going on here that the brothers and sisters are having positive. It's not necessarily that they're getting married after the event. They're able to kind of connect with other people that are attending the event, and then through the app, through the platform, they're able to kind of continue the conversation. So we also have the Fajr socials, a lot more social activities that we're hopefully planning to do. The counseling hopefully will be something that we can talk about a little more, hopefully by the next quarterly session. At this point, we're doing, we're really pushing folks to Maristan, which Dr. Rania has kind of incorporated in the Bay Area here, and Maristan will be hopefully have offices in around MCC, inshallah. So we'll have more information about that. But for now, if you go on our on the MCC page, mcceastbay.org/counseling, you can find out how you can make an appointment through Maristan at their Union City office or online, inshallah. I think that's all I had. Brother Pervez is over to talk about the community survey, which was very nice that the community responded in such a nice way and filled out the survey, and a lot of the construction. Jazakallah khair.
Mariam and Zaid forgot the most important thing. They're married, they're newly married. Just in case you don't know that, it's like an important point to make, especially when you were so closely cuddled together, mashallah. This is actually a bad title for the slide because it's, I mean, if you were to talk about human beings, you would not just talk about limbs and organs and, you know, bones, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But the reality is, what we want to talk about is how do we enable, I'll use the word platform, to be able to do a lot more stuff that you just saw here, but take it to the next level, right? How do we enable the physical facilities to enable you to do more and more and more? Because as you know, for example, where is he? Here we are. Munir just mentioned yesterday there were 35 people here, and you could hear them during Zohar prayer, right? And we just don't have that ability to say, you know, the loud stuff is over there, the quiet stuff is over here, those sorts of things. So I'm going to take you through the planning we have in terms of facilities for the next, in the coming probably year and a half, I think it'll take us, inshallah. If you go to the first slide. So this, I think some of you have seen before. If you haven't seen it, I'll go through it very quickly. This is sort of a color graphic of what the facility is going to look like in time X, and I'll let you ask the question when time X is. This came out of a survey we did probably 7 or 8 years ago, where we asked everybody what the needs are, right, and prioritize them. And then we said, okay, this is how much facility we have, what can we do? And I won't go through this, well, you can read most of it. I think the biggest thing I would say is there is a dining hall that is going to be for large group meetings, not of this type, because this is the right place for this type. But for example, the meeting we had yesterday would be a wonderful place to have the meeting, matrimony, was it really matrimony, or was it, okay, young dating meeting or something. That would be a great place to have that meeting. And there are many other meetings we can have where, you know, dinner is involved, or lunch is involved, food is involved, and we just do it on that side of the area. We do plan to have youth lounges. We don't know what a youth lounge is, so we're actually counting on both Mariam and Zaid to help us. You know, what is the definition of a youth lounge? It's just an open area you can hang around with nothing there. Is it a bunch of electronics? Is it, you know, what do they really want there, right? So, but there is the idea of having both a men's and a women's youth lounge, a multi-purpose room that will do many, many different things. It could be a gym. In Ramadan, it'll be a parent-child area. I'm sorry? Yeah, so there are a lot of things you can do over there. A seniors lounge, and it'll also be a library. And the lobby will be one of the, when you come into the lobby, which is a school section right now, that'll actually be our main entrance. And it'll be decked out to be really quite nice. And, you know, on one side, you will see the library with glass and stuff there, with a lot of wood and glass. And on the other side, you'll see the Sunday school area, the youth lounge, the multi-purpose room. The Sunday school classrooms are all going to get redone. And then parts of the prayer hall and the dining area are also going to be reconfigured every Sunday to be a Sunday school, okay? Because we just don't have enough space to do that. So it's some dedicated Sunday school classes like today, but some also configured every Sunday. So that's sort of the master plan. And when we did this back 7 years ago, and we always get input from everybody, we didn't really have an outside plan. So let's go to the next slide. This is sort of the outside plan. So this is the area right on this side. So if you're coming to the men's section in the masjid, you have that grassy area that we really don't use except for the small barbecue picnic area. We will have a basketball court that can, for the older folks here or younger folks, can also be a pickleball, is that what it's called? Pickleball? Or badminton, or volleyball, or half basketball. And then also a area for just a play field. There'll be proper grass where kids, it'll be flattened, so it's flat. Kids can just run around, right, of a certain age, right? And then the picnic area with proper barbecue and all that, I think if I remember right, it's either 100 or 150 people to be able to have a picnic, barbecues, and then an outside wudu area also over there so people can do wudu outside before they come in, and a drinking fountain and all that. Plus a little track all around it with bars and stuff, so you just want to walk around with little exercise things, you can do that too, okay? That's the plan. We have to submit this to the city. We're right now doing a survey, a very detailed survey of the land itself. That's part one. Part two is give them a very detailed plan they're going to ask for. And then we see whether they're willing to give us do a basketball court or not, because there will be concern about noise that travels across concrete to where the houses are on the other side. Let's keep going. So we did ask, this was one of the survey questions, what's important on the outside? And you can tell it's really a little hard to read, the right-hand side, all the way on the right-hand side, basketball court, the most important thing, open field, very closely next to it, playground area. So these are in order of priority just from the community that responded. And we did the survey back in, about 2 months ago. Yeah, about 2 months ago. And we got, as you can see, 221 responses, which is pretty good for the community itself. Next slide. There was a lot of discussion because in Ramadan we talked about the basketball court as being a full court. And then we got some feedback from people saying, oh, if you do a full court, there's no other space there. Right? So this is the result of the survey. We asked people, do you want a full court or a half court with a open green area? And as you can tell, 64% of the people recommended a half-size court along with an open grass court. So that's what we're doing. And then a whole bunch of people at the bottom, I think 16%, basically said, we really don't do either one, we don't care. Okay. So that's the basis of saying we're going to do the half court, not the full court. Next slide. You can skip that slide. Okay, just status. I think Saeed Bhai showed this last time. The greens are done. What's new from last time, which was 3 months ago? Okay, are the check marks and the greens. The green with a check mark. So HVAC units have been done for Sunday school. You would think that would be relatively easy to do. It was actually incredibly difficult because we have 2 units that are the size of a shipping container, what a truck carries. And when we were looking to replace them with smaller units, the wait time was 22 months, 24 months, right? And this is in January, and we're trying to get this done before school starts, right? And then we were able to find somebody actually within the community who was able to get it quickly, earlier, but then we couldn't find anybody to actually do the work on them. And the people that actually deliver are the people that actually want to install because they both want to make money combined. So it was actually quite hard to figure out how to do that. But alhamdulillah, we were able to do that. It was a crane. The thing was taken apart in pieces. And then a crane took each piece down. And that was done, I think, over a 3 or 4 day period right before school started. Just absolutely last minute. Alhamdulillah, we were able to do that. Then the other thing we did, it says if you go to the next slide, I believe, yeah, it says we replaced the existing roof. We didn't actually take the old roof off. We actually put I'm not quite sure what it is, a thick layer of gooey stuff. Let me just use non-technical terms. Gooey stuff that is covering the entire roof, okay? The reason I say that's important is we've had leaks here for many, many years, and they've been underneath the old HVAC units. So now we have the entire area has got a nice rubbery, whatever, texture, and inshallah we should not have any leaks, right? By the way, each of these things are 100,000 plus projects. These are not inexpensive projects. Just the roof thing is in the probably a little less than 100,000, and so forth. So these are pretty expensive projects. I think next. Okay, this is a little hard to read. So this, I'll just give you the key points. So this is a survey we did, and we were asking people, what is your satisfaction level? A whole bunch of dimensions, right? So the top is your satisfaction level with MCC communications, with overall with MCC, with Ramadan programs and social services, our staff, our khutbahs, the Quran Hifz program, religious classes, and at the bottom, girls and boys activities and programs, okay? And then the middle column that is red, that says good to great, I just added up anybody that said it's excellent or it's very good or good. So combine all those. And the other second column, the second red column is poor or okay, right? Just a quick way to analyze this. And I mean, if you look at the numbers, I mean, 87% of our people are very, very happy with the communications we're doing, right? I don't think they're talking about town halls. I think because that we just started, but alhamdulillah, we'll get even higher points with town halls. But I think this has to do with the communication letters. This has to do with announcements. This has to do with Jummah announcements. This has to do with Ramadan announcements. All those sorts of things, letting people know what we're doing. Overall satisfaction with MCC, 90%. Now, 7% did say okay to poor, right? 6% okay, 1% poor. 1%, by the way, on 200 is 4 people, or 2 people. No, 1% of 200 is 2 people. 2 people. Think about these things. I have to think about these things before I get up here. It's 2 people, right? So 2 people are not satisfied with us out of 200, right? And we should try to get that better. The points I wanted to make are the circles. You may say, oh my God, the Quran Hifz program, only 43% of people are happy with it. Well, that's not quite the case, because if you look at that, 53% of the Quran Hifz program don't know. Which is normal, because if you don't have a kid going to the Quran Hifz program, you probably don't know, is it a good program or a bad program, okay? So we have to be careful when we just sort by one column and don't look at the other column to see what's going on. You know, Sunday school, if you don't have a kid going to Sunday school, it's got a 49%, right? But 44% people don't know. So you have to sort of adjust that by people that know, and the numbers go up, right? I didn't do that here. The problem areas I circled, right? Because I didn't look at what the goodness part was, I looked at the okay to poor. And anytime it's like 10% okay to poor, roughly 10%, it's like, okay, we need to improve this, right? One was the board and the leadership. Interfaith just hit the mark. But interfaith, there are a lot of people that I don't know. That's not the case of board leadership. You have a lot of people that are happy about it. Some don't know, but 10% you don't. By the way, I include myself, when I say this, both boards and leadership and everything, it's all of us combined. And then the 2 at the bottom, it's pretty clear. Good to great in terms of girls' programs and activities, 35%. Half people still don't know, but the ratio between people giving us good, 35%, and in the case of boys, 30% good and 20% not good, is not good. Yeah, so that just tells you the survey helps us, right? And obviously, I think some of this we knew beforehand, why we hired both Zaid and Mariam, is to, you know, emphasize that area more so than we have before, and particularly post-COVID, right? And I could spend more and more time on this. I won't. It suffices to say, I think we got about 200 or 300 comments from about 84 people, right? There's just lots and lots of comments, right? That I think the board has all of this. Both boards have all of this. Some comments are very enlightening. Some are just, but there are a lot of good critical comments that help us, that we can do better. Okay. Any questions? By the way, how many people are online? 50? 15. Okay, mashallah. Any question from anybody? Yeah, well, if you look at the past 7, 8, 9 years, if you've been here enough times, people are just everywhere, and they can almost go everywhere all the time. And now you're going to have dedicated areas for certain functions, right? If you're doing this, this is where you go. If you're doing this, this is where you go. If you're doing this, this is where you go. This room will be closed if it's not being used. You don't get to come here if it's not a function that's on the appointment list for doing X, Y, Z, right? Or something else will be closed. So it's a lot more discipline, almost like any other masjid you go to. It's like, this is the area for this, this is the area for this, this is the area for this. You don't just get to walk here because you want to, because it's dedicated for something. Like the library is dedicated for the library function, or the senior lounge. That's actually the biggest change that we have to adapt ourselves to, because we're all used to, for the past 10 years, you just walk anywhere and it's okay. Right? And I'm not saying we're going to completely restrict it. I'm just saying we're going to be a lot more disciplined, I think, in how we manage that. Maintenance of facilities, and the last is the most important point, is once, inshallah, we have all these, and I forgot to mention the cafe, by the way, and the cafe is going to be where the outside garage used to be, right straight here, actually, right? Straight here? Yeah. The covered area used to go play basketball next to the trash cans, right? We're going to extend the building out, and that becomes the cafe. There's still a debate going on what type of cafe, and we actually need to talk to the youth, because the youth I've talked to have a very different idea what I think of a cafe versus what they think of a cafe. So we just need to get that input and put that in our planning, right? So, bismillah. Oh, we can skip that. It's just feedback on additional activities people want to see. And no big surprise, lots of onesie-twosies. The two big ones that stand out, we know. We want programs for the boys, we want programs for the girls, and we want food. Cafe, right? So, and those are both on the plan. Bismillah.
Okay, so they're a little shy, but I'll give my the first question because some of the Sunday school parents asked me this today. They kind of made me the messenger for this. So they were asking, they got an email from MCC or MCC Sunday School today saying you have to become a member to attend. So there's a little confusion out there about what is a member at MCC. Is it the person that pays $50 a month, or is it a person who gives a certain amount of money to the Zakat fund? Because there's one person saying, I'm not giving $50 a month, but I'm a big donor, I give amounts to MCC. How do I become a member, or am I a member already? So there's a little confusion there, if you can address.
Yeah, just clarity. Clarity on that. A member is just somebody that gives X amount of dollars during the year per month. That's about $50, right? And that's been the same amount we've had for for 10 years now. And at some point, I think we should raise that. That's what a member is, okay? To be in the school, you have to be a member, right? It's as simple as that. We're not charging for school, right? But you have to be a member of the community. And the member of the community is you pay so much, and there's a tighter definition in terms of where you live. But that's how they're linked. But there isn't you have to pay for school. You have to be a member, and that's the paying part. right? There are members who don't go to school, they don't have children to go to school, and there are members that have children to go to school. But in any case, you have to be a member. Okay?
All right, we have a question online. What are we doing for the singles of the community other than the matrimonial, the matchmaking sessions? Have we thought about implementing gatherings to build a community for singles that they can network, build friendships, and not feel so alone? Do you want to address that, Sister Amara, or should I? You want to?
Bismillah. So the question about the matrimonial and getting the singles together is, we hear that a lot from the community, and I wish it was a simple answer. That's the reason we started it's quarterly event for the singles with half-year Deen, which has been, mashallah, very successful. Other than that, at this time, we feel MCC needs a very strong volunteer base to hold an event which is chaperoned well, which is well thought of, which also contains an element of Deen, in bringing all the single brothers and sisters together in a way which is appropriate, and yes, it is productive for the community as well. We do not have that volunteer base at this time. If you are somebody who is passionate about this and can make a business plan and get approval from the board or the religious committee on how this looks like to you and how you will execute it, inshallah, we are here to completely support you. But the board or Brother Munir really do not have the bandwidth at this time to facilitate additional singles event, because they do require a lot of background work. I hope that helps. Yes, please.
I have a comment on this and also a comment on the previous question. So on the comment on this, I spoke to Mariam, from their listening sessions. I said, what is the number one thing that came out? And what she said was, our youth want Muslim friends. Simple as that. They want a place where they can get together and have friends. Because we live in a very distributed, unless your parents are bringing people together, you're making friends. Otherwise, your friends are your school friends. Right? And what they're looking for, and this came out in the question in a very nice way, is they want to have friendships with Muslims. And we have to figure out how to enable that. And just having the space, once we have the space, inshallah, that will help, right? And the other point I think you made is absolutely important, is not everything has to come from the board or from the people here. This is very easy to do for somebody to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to help people get together once a month. Anybody can do it, just have to get it going. The other point I just want to get up here is the question about membership. I forgot to answer the second part of it. The zakat doesn't count towards membership. That's an obligation you have, right? And that doesn't come to MCC. That goes outside of MCC, right? It goes to poorer people in the zakat eligible categories. So outside of zakat, other donations, not donations for a ticketed event. There's an event here. I pay $10 for it. That goes towards my membership. That doesn't count. Zakat doesn't count. It's pure donations that count towards membership. Okay.
Just to be clear, for the parent who asked me about this, they're saying I'm a big donor to the operations fund. What is the threshold that they have to hit to not pay the $50 a month as a member?
$600.
$600.
$600.
Okay.
$50 a month. That number may change in the future, but it has been $50 a month.
Okay, so Sunday school parents that are wondering what it is, you'll have to just make sure that it's to the operations or Sadaqah fund, $600, and as long as you can show that to the MCC Sunday School, that will satisfy the requirement of the monthly membership. Is that correct? In the previous 12 calendar months. Correct, okay. Any other questions online? Yeah, we have another question online here. What activities can the board sponsor to bring the community together more? Can we bring together people, as many people as we see on Friday prayers? SubhanAllah. So social activities that we can bring the community together as much as we do on the Friday prayers. Well, let me just quickly mention, when we have the Fall Fest every year here, when we have Eid prayers over here every year, we see people we never see throughout the year. And the volunteers, all of us, we're all with the mindset, we have to be very careful because this is maybe the only Quran some of these people ever read. To get to the point where we're seeing folks in the numbers that we see for Jummah, it usually takes a big event like Tarawih, like the 27th night of Ramadan. If you have our community iftars, food is a big way to bring people together. I think the social activities are one area that we heard in the survey that we could do better on. Unfortunately, they are a very big manpower. It takes a lot of effort to put on a social event, rather than a religious event. The kind of sage on stage, he sits there or she sits there and gives a 1-hour lecture, and it's very low effort, but it has a good impact. To do a social event takes a lot more effort and might have a low impact or might have a high impact, but it takes a lot more effort, and that's where the community comes into play. Just like when we were talking about the social events, it takes the community to be a part of these events. So I don't know if that answers the question. Yeah. So we've seen a big dip as far as what we see during our events because of the presence online. And because we've been consistent with live streams, people don't necessarily have to scratch their heads and say, oh, well, is MCC going to live stream this? They know it's going to be happening, and as a result, we see this big number. Pre-COVID, we would see a lot more people here in most of our events because there wasn't an online component. But if you're able to see on your home screen in HD with good audio quality, what's the use of coming to MCC sometimes is what the thought is. Then we miss community when we think like that. We don't see people eyeball to eyeball. We're behind these symmetry and these screens, and that's when people have this misgiving where we need more social events. When we do have events that will necessarily bind and bring the community together, but it's not really typified as a social event. I don't know if that answers the question. Okay, we have a question in the back here.
So my question, Assalamu alaikum. My question is, when we're picking up the board members, can we have them like agree with the certain hours to complete, or we don't see all of the board member here often? We just see them once a year or once in a blue moon. So can we have something like this where the board member could do some events, they have to be on the certain events?
Jazakallah for your question. I think that's something that we're striving towards. Being on the board requires attending board meetings, which oftentimes are happening on Zoom. I think as we get closer to Ramadan, we'll probably have some in-person gatherings as well. But we are striving towards a committee structure as well, where if you're on the board, we want you to be also on the committees, so that can also mean that you get more hands-on experience. And rather than just decision-making, you're more involved in, say, planning an event or planning certain things or so, and be present as well. So that's my goal, yeah. I mean, you know, we have a great volunteer staff. We've got a wonderful full-time staff, but I think, yeah, the board and having a committee structure can help towards that, inshallah. Anything else? Any other questions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. I also think I saw all the priorities, and I did see we're doing a lot of good work, mashallah. That's great for our community. But we should also push our first generation students to apply for colleges, and there is a lot that happens, the FAFSA application or support for essays, and it takes quite a toll on our community, especially if you are a first generation and there is no background on what happens. I feel that is needed in the community, and we should be doing something about it for at least our junior or senior year, so that they know 1 year in advance rather than in the senior year, especially high school juniors. So I would love to see that program on it. So we're doing great work, but I wanted to add to it. And just a suggestion.
Yeah, Sister Mary will answer that. Let me just dovetail on that because we got a question online that kind of dovetails on your question, brother. Is there any initiatives to the board? Is there any initiatives to up-level professional skill sets through mentorship events to improve networking, like how we can spin off startups and learn new skills or crack job interviews?
Bismillah, that was a really great question. I totally vouch for that because I have a senior applying for colleges, and I can tell you that majority of the day ends with a little argument between him and myself, like what happened today, which college application got done or which essay did not get done, and it really does create tension in the house. And I'm trying to be very positive. It's my third child, so I need to stay like on top of it, but I totally understand where you're coming from. Alhamdulillah, we had an event today for the seniors on the college application. The Berkeley students, 2 of the Berkeley students came. It's a very valid point for next year. Inshallah, we should start thinking about planning it in August when the school starts. So the students have a little bit of guidance at the start of the application process and not 2 weeks before the UC applications are ending. So we will make that a point to start those, and hopefully we can get also our seniors and our college students who are from the community that can do those workshops and say what was their struggle and how did they overcome those struggles and what really helped them get through the application process. Because I understand students are crying and they're staying up all night, not my child, but other people's good students are doing that. So, so inshallah, we will try to keep that in mind for sure for next year, because this year I think we sort of, between starting up the programming slowly, we did not plan so far ahead and did not do a good job of it. The second question was the networking. That also is a great suggestion, and we should certainly do that. I will take that in the board in the next coming meeting on Wednesday and see if one of the board members can take a lead on that. If not, anybody who's listening, or we can put it in our newsletter that we would like to start this, but we do need some active participation from, mashallah, our community here has so many great resources. Majority of the people here are working in tech or in HR or in funds or have startups. We would like to hear from you to start something to help the younger generation who's coming into the workforce get better at this, or people who are looking for jobs connect with other networking people, and then they can find some connection in there. So I will be discussing that inshallah in the board. We will bring it up, and then if you are a person who is really passionate about this, passionate about networking and starting something in the masjid, please do reach out to one of us. Next Sunday, inshallah, we will be having a session with one of the sisters who will be helping with, it's only for sisters though, that she has come forward and she said that I would like to help the sisters with resume building and LinkedIn profile building, and inshallah we will try to set something up like that for the brothers. But you have to understand it's a sister who has come forward and she wants to do it. So we need a volunteer like that for the rest of the community who wants to take this on. So the board can support you and champion your cause, but we want volunteers who will also help the community go through this process. And mashallah, we have plenty of resources.
For those that are online, we see the questions coming in. People are really throwing in a lot of questions now, so we'll get to all of them, inshallah.
I'll go through this quickly. So contact Shahryar Abbasi. He actually does this as a side business. I think it's called Empower. And he will help people go through the entire process of essays, things you have to do to get into college. His wife was on the University of Berkeley Board of Governors, right? It was a very high position. That's one suggestion. The other is, if you're serious about this, get it started, right? Talk to 10 people that had their kids graduate last year. Get them up here. This is the process I went through. That's all you have to do. It's just a little bit of initiative. Ask the board, can I do this? Yes. Boom. A little bit of work? Yep. But I want to encourage the entire community. It doesn't take that much. There's a little bit of thinking, how should I do it? Get some ideas from people. But all you need is 10 people that did it last year, okay? And they're going to school here because you can get them up here. That's all it takes, right?
Okay, so on that note, one of the questions is, can we have sports competitions against other masjids or tournaments? I think this goes with Brother Pervez's point that, yes, we can. Where are you? Can you put some skin in the game, inshallah, to help us get this going here? So that's really what it comes down to, because you have a very receptive board leadership over here at MCC, and you'll see that when you come to us, you give us a proposal, it works, and we can make it happen with the marketing and everything here. I'll keep going down the questions because, alhamdulillah, the online community is very strong now, and they're sending in questions. Can you please elaborate more on the special needs programs and the Sunday school? So, special needs programs, it really, so far, unless it takes a staff member kind of putting them under their belt, if we have typically a volunteer that runs a cohort or a program, it lives and breathes on that volunteer or that group of volunteers. So when they start really up in their game, that's when you see a lot more activities. We have had a drop-off on the side of special needs, on the side of young kids recently, and you'll see that in the program. We don't have as much special needs programming as we once did. Alhamdulillah, we have core volunteer members that are doing the special needs programming for our Sunday school, and that's why that class is waitlisted at capacity right now, because we have dedicated volunteers that are doing that at our Sunday school. But as far as regular programming, it takes the special needs parents saying to MCC, yes, I want to help out with special needs programming. I'm a special needs parent myself. I know what my cohorts, what other people in the community who have special needs children want, and I want to do this. And that's just bringing it to us. So please, if you're asking a question, maybe ask as well, what can I do to kind of help out with the situation, inshallah? Do you want to elaborate? Yeah, Sunday school, the class is full right now for our MCC Sunday School special needs, but you can join by contacting the MCC Sunday School, and they have a special wait list, as far as I'm aware, for just our special needs parents. There are some special needs parents who have kids that necessarily can't attend it, so you want to audit, and that the teacher there can kind of make a time to let the child come to the room and see what it's like. There is also one at MCA, and I'm not sure if there's room or not at MCA, but that's worth reaching out to. So as far as I'm aware of, there's only 2 in the Bay Area, the special needs weekend school, Islamic school, at MCC and at MCA. And, you know, it really just takes the person to reach out to us and ask us. So this past Jummah, somebody came to us who is deaf and said, can we get a sign language interpreter for this? And alhamdulillah, because we're a Mohsin certified masjid, we just reach out to Mohsin, and Mohsin helps us find a sign language interpreter to come down here, and now that's going to happen, inshallah. So it's just a matter of letting us know and putting it on our radar, and because we're a special needs masjid, we have the resources and the commitment to make that happen, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Are there any more questions in the room? Yeah, and the questions are...
Reminded me of an incident.
Go ahead.
So the special needs thing, or any other idea or a suggestion that you might have, please do remember that you can come to us. I will share a little story. This happened this past Ramadan. We were going through the facility deciding for Ramadan, how to make the facility flow better during Taraweeh, and what would work and what will not work. And at that time, majority of us were pretty adamant that we should convert the bathrooms from that prayer hall, banquet area for the sisters. So because when sisters are praying, we do not want the brothers to come and pray, go to the bathroom there, and they feel uncomfortable, we feel uncomfortable, because mashallah, typically our prayer area overflows into the banquet hall area. And the very next day, I think was Jummah, and I was talking in Munir's office. One of our special needs brother came in and he thanked us that we have a facility in which the bathrooms are here in the lobby and his wheelchair can go easily, because he has a very hard time going to that bathrooms because of the carpet. And it made me realize that unless we are in your shoes, we don't know what your challenges are. We can try, but we really don't know until you bring to our attention that, you know what, this really would make my life easier. Like this young gentleman who came this Friday and said he would like to have sign language interpretation done at the Jummahs. What a beautiful idea. We should be doing that anyways. Or the brother who told us that because of his wheelchair, he cannot do wudu unless he can go to this bathroom. And we did accommodate. It was just one person, but we accommodated him, and we did not switch out the bathrooms except for a few nights, just because there were women all over that area. So please bring your ideas, your suggestions to us. We would like to hear them. We would like to grow for the community, for their benefit. Whatever our community needs, we are here to serve you. That's the reason we are here. So please let us know. We will try our best. We can't promise that everything that you bring to us will come to fruition, because we have certain limitations in this as a board of directors or as a community or with the building or with the funds. But inshallah, we will try our best to service you in a better way than we have been. And moving forward, we will always be our community. What they say always has top priority for us. Jazakallah.
You want to just stay there for a second, sir? Amir, we have one question from Facebook, and it's for Hafiz Zaid. Maybe you can answer this in his absence. Hafiz Zaid, can you handle one-to-one long-term relationships, so create more of a buddy system for our teen boys?
So at this time, the idea that Hafiz Zaid has is that he will have the group sessions on Fridays. Then, as you saw in his Calendly, he has opened certain times and days on which his office hours will be open to anybody in the community, especially the youth, to come in and have a one-on-one session with him. That could lead into a long-term relationship with him as a mentor, or maybe he can find a mentor in the community for your young gentleman or young lady who is looking to form that bond with a scholar or with an adult. So please do reach out to him on his Calendly and sign up, and inshallah he can provide better guidance moving forward.
I think that's it. I think we've answered all questions online. If I've missed any, please pipe up right now, inshallah. But I think going through all the comments, there's a lot of comments just saying, alhamdulillah, thank you for your service for MCC and the board and all the leadership here. So alhamdulillah, we're honored to serve you. But I think we've answered. I think the one comment right now is we should use the newsletter more to share some of the stuff we talked about today, so we can drive more people. For example, by being able to drive initiatives. This is something that we should be shared on the newsletter. One comment to say.
Inshallah, we will make that in part of their newsletter. That's what we are looking for. At this time, we will be closing with a dua from our board member, Brother Zahir Khan. Jazakallah, everybody.
Jazakallah khair, everyone. Thank you. And may Allah bless the community. May Allah bless the MCC, all the board members, board of directors and trustees, and you everybody of the community. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair, everyone. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina shafi'ana nabiyana habibana maulana Muhammadi wa ala ali sayyidina maulana Muhammadi wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma anta salam minka salam. Hayyana tabarakta ya zal jalali wal ikram. Sami'ana wa ata'ana ghufranaka rabbana wa ilayka al-masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Wa adkhilna al-jannata ma'al abrar ya azizu ya ghafar. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب اللهم احفظنا من كل بلاء الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة اللهم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم يا كريم يا كريم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا تقبل منا الفاتحة إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا شفيعنا حبيبنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله